Engineering and Computer Aided Design from Government College of Engineering, Salem. He completed his PhD from Coimbatore Institute of Technology, Coimbatore. His research interests are in the area of additive manufacturing, customization, and product development. He served as a reviewer in Emerald Rapid Prototyping Journal and SAG Journal of Engineering Manufacture. He is having 12 years of experience in teaching and research. I welcome Dr. Srikanth MP for his session. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you all for inviting me for this session. So I will just switch my mic, so and I will start my presentation now. I think I'm first of all I'm sorry that maybe if anything happened between because of network issue, so please let me know, because I may not be knowing that whether I am in or not. So please let me know if you, and I think questionnaire session we can keep it the last, right? Hopefully we can so I will present it. I think I can complete my
Voice is breaking, sir.
So I will
Voice
switch off
is
my
breaking. Okay.
Yeah, sir. I don't know what is the because of network issues, sir. So in between, that means we'll switch off my camera, because that will actually keep data in minimum. So I will present it now, my presentation. Okay, so can you hear me now? Can you hear me? And,
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you see my? Yeah. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir. Only voice is breaking.
Yeah, slightly. Okay, maybe some radio jack problem. Okay, audio jack.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So hope you can hear me, right?
Sir.
Hello, sir.
Okay, sir. Proceed.
Yeah, you can hear me right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So my topic, actually, additive manufacturing. Actually, you know that it is actually a new technology. It's around 30 years old, approximately, and maybe you already heard last 1.5 day. Already heard a lot of information about additive manufacturing, 3D printing. It is actually started as rapid prototyping in the late 1980s. It's actually stereolithography apparatus. That is the first 3D printing technology or additive manufacturing technology. So those things already you maybe heard about that, or maybe you may read the text in different journals or maybe books. So first of all, I thank the organizers and the AICT for inviting me for this, for presenting my experiences. And this is actually my experiences for in the field of additive manufacturing and product development last 8 years during my PhD. So okay, so I will continue the presentation. So that is this is my institution, Vimal Jyoti Engineering College. It is Chemberi in Kannur district, Kerala. Okay, so it's actually started in 2002, and mechanical engineering, electrical, civil, computer science, electronics and communication, and electronics and instrumentation. And this year I think we are starting artificial intelligence and data science. So, and some MTech course in civil and mechanical it is there. Okay, so these are my topics of discussion. First we will see what are the AM. Maybe you already know that, but I will just go through this. What is AM? What is additive manufacturing? What is rapid prototyping? All those things. Then what are the main classification of these things and some applications. And then I will present what I did in my research. I think probably it will be useful for you. Maybe some of the upcoming researchers. Maybe not the thing, but what I experienced, what I struggled to find the solution for this, all those things I will share. So hopefully it can be useful for you. Okay, and some other examples of already published work. Okay. Then that means these works actually I came across in my research. So those things actually it will be useful or maybe interesting for you. That's what I actually took up those things in the presentation. So next is actually you know that AI is manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, 3D printing, so fabrication, direct digital manufacturing, direct digital manufacturing. A lot of names we are actually telling about this series of technologies, but these are all same actually. These are all same series of technology. So this is main idea is a CAD model will be there that will actually transform a product by series of technology, adding one layer over the other. Okay, so this only you know that. Okay, so that is the basic idea behind this technology. Okay, so this
Hello, sir. Voice is breaking, sir. Sir, if you change the position, sir, just 1 or 2 feet to change it your position, sir, to present, sir. Hello, sir.
I think sir is left.
Yes, I think that.
can you hear me? Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
You are
I think
audible,
I
sir.
don't know what is actually happening.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So sorry for interruption because it usually happens in this remote presentations, right? So I am really sorry for that. So I will start once more sharing the screen. Presentation.
Okay, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
Sir,
You can see
present,
this,
sir.
right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, sir. So I
Okay,
think
okay.
hope this slide you actually saw this slide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Maybe not, right? Okay. So okay. So this is actually the rapid prototyping cycle. So this is actually happening from CAD design to the build stage, then to post processing. So we need some operations, or maybe you have to remove the support structure, those things. So that's the basic
Sir, your voice
process
is not
in
clear.
a rapid prototyping.
Hello. I think connection problem.
Oh, yeah, maybe, sir.
So
I'll
your
just check it,
voice
sir.
is not clear.
Yeah, I already heard that. Just a minute. hear me now? Hello. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So hopefully you can see the presentation now. Correct?
70, 70, sir.
Hello, sir.
70, sir.
Yeah, right, sir?
The PPT not visible, sir.
Visible?
PPT not clear. It's not
Just a
open.
minute, sir. Now, sir?
Do not present the
Hello?
PPT, sir.
Hello?
Do not show the.
Yeah, it's visible, right? Hello, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible now, sir?
No,
Sorry.
yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. You can hear my voice, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you, sir. So please let me know, sir, because I may not be knowing that in between presentation. Sorry for the inconvenience. Really sorry. So this I already discussed with you. So then you may have the question that why we need prototyping. Okay. So normally the prototyping is done for or doing for user requirements to identify what actually the customers want. Then eliminate the fuzziness in the design. That means in between when the product development stage is going on, you may have a lot of problems in between. So you can eliminate this design problem before going to the manufacturing stage. Then customer participation and user requirements are actually hand in hand. That means hand in glove. So without customer participation, you can't identify what are the requirements they want. Okay. So then customer acceptance. That means you can show this prototype to the customers. Then you can easily get the feedback from the customer. Go for better design. Okay. Then quality assurance. So the quality can be assured before prototype testing and all those things. Then you can show this prototype the management for getting the approval. Then in between proof of concept, that means that in the team itself, within the team, you can with the physical prototype and you can get approval from the design team itself. So, that means you can eliminate the drawbacks in that. Then validation. So final validation also you can use for prototyping. You can use prototyping stage. So in between that, in product development stage, several point you use this prototype process for eliminating the fuzziness and improving the design. Okay, so that's why actually we need prototype. Then when you go for the additive manufacturing or additive manufacturing process, so there are different series of technologies are available. And formerly the classification was like liquid based, solid based, and powder based. But in 2012, ASTM, American Society for ASTM standards actually came for this additive manufacturing. That summit actually called for F42. Identified 7 series of technology in additive manufacturing. That is VAT for polymerization, material jetting, material extrusion, binder jetting, powder bed fusion, sheet lamination, direct energy deposition. So whatever in liquid, solid, and powder-based technologies, the same technologies are here also, but they classified and they made a standard for this classification of additive manufacturing technology. So I will some of the examples for these technologies I will discuss in the coming slides. Okay, stereolithography. Why I choose this first, actually, because this is the first machine developed in this technology. Okay, it is actually developed in around 1988, and this is actually we are using a photopolymer resin in a tank. You are keeping a platform inside that, and this the specialty of this photopolymer is the correct intensity of light. If it is hit on that surface, it will get solidified. Okay, specialties, and so that means when this table will lower, that at the initial stage, this table will be at the top of the photopolymer resin layer. Then it will go one layer below that. Okay, so this is stereolithography. This is liquid technology because the stacking material is in liquid form. And this process, this is comparatively newer technology. This is also a liquid base. That means the starting material is actually liquid, and this is actually you are jetting. That means why it is called as jet. There will be a lot of nozzles in that. Lot of holes in the nozzle, and it is actually this liquid form will come in the form of a jet. Okay, so this yellow part is the model material, and the white part is actually support material. Okay, so this is this next one. This fused deposition modeling came under this category, that is material extrusion category. Okay, fused deposition modeling, it is one of the widely using technology in 3D printing or additive manufacturing. This we are using a wire form or filament. So another name for this, that means fused filament fused filament fabrication, FFF or FDM. Both we are saying in there. Here actually for support material and for model material, there will be two separate spools. Okay, so that will actually come through a nozzle, and it will come into the chamber. Chamber will be temperature will be controlled in that chamber. So it will get a semi-solid state, and it will paste it on the table. And at the normally at the initial stage, the table will be at the top of the machine. Then for each layer, it will lower to bottom. Okay. Then selective laser sintering. So one and in FDM, even nowadays started printing metal also. Okay. So another technology is selective laser sintering. So sintering, I think you know that sintering temperature is normally the 3/4. That means around 70-75% of the melting temperature. So this is one of the powder-based technology. This previous one, FDM, it is a solid-based technology, wire solid we are using. In this powder, there will be powder delivery system and fabrication piston will be there. So fabrication piston, there that means you will supply this material to the fabrication piston. Based using the laser, you will cinder the material. That means sintering, normally what will happen is the temperature will be, the high temperature will supply to the material, and because of that, these powders will fuse together. Okay, so that's what actually happening in this. Okay, then and next one is selective laser melting process. This is actually similar to selective laser sintering, but here not sintering is actually happening. Here actually melting of the powder is happening, and it will flow. That means this material together, it will flow and it will join together. Okay, so the other things, that means CAD model, the powder delivery system, the fabrication piston, all those things will be similar. So you can see this selective laser melting process, you can see here. Then binder jetting, this is also a powder-based technology. This is normally first, actually this technology was called as 3D printing itself. So this actually the 3D printing, nowadays we are using the term for all this series of technology. But actually this 3D printing name first came for this binder jetting process. Okay, so here instead of a laser, we are using a binder. Okay, so binder used for fusing this, that means sticking these powders together. Okay, so also that means in selective laser sintering, selective laser melting, and binder jetting, you can use metals. Okay, so this is another one. Then next one is laminated object manufacturing. This is also coming. This is actually sheet lamination. This will come under sheet lamination process, the sixth one. Okay. So powder bed fusion, it is selective laser sintering, selective laser melting, 3D printing process, binder jetting process, it's separate. Selective laser sintering and selective laser melting process will come under this powder bed fusion. Okay, you can see that powder bed fusion. Then this laminate object manufacturing, it is sheet. This actually we are using a sheet of paper or maybe other materials. And this also in previous application, it will come under solid solid application. Okay, powder based, it is based. Instead of 1 here, we are using here a paper form or laminated sheets. Okay, so here also we are using laser, but one of the main problem of this technology is actually fume will means a lot of fume will be generated while using the laser. So that fume will be a problem for us. So that you have to ventilate it. So that is the main drawback of the system. Then it is laser engineered net shaping. This is actually coming under direct energy deposition, the last method. Direct energy deposition, another one is also there, that I will tell you. Laser engineered net shaping, it is also a laser based technology, but laser based technology and powder based. The powder will be supplied through some of the tubes. Okay, some of the tubes, and laser will come. That means when the powder, I hope you can see my cursor, correct? You can see my cursor. So through this blue channels or blue tubes, this powder will come nearer to the exit of the nozzle. Same way that laser will also reach that point. So what will happen because of this laser? This powder will get in a solid state or maybe molten state. So that together this laser energy and the powder, it will paste or maybe it will fall on the table. So that's what it is actually calling as direct energy deposition. Laser energy, it is deposited on that. Okay. So hope you can hear me, right? Can you hear me now? Can anybody tell? Can you hear? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Now your PPT and your voice is also audible, and your PPT is visible now.
Well, now
Okay,
also
it's
visible,
okay,
yeah?
sir.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, please audible to you. Okay. So you can just when I'm asking, one of you can just. So
Sir,
this one is electron melting. Yeah. Hello.
sir,
Any problem?
in
Can you see
between
me?
one or
Yeah,
two
yeah.
time,
Please tell me, sir.
echo and also voice is breaking.
Yeah. Now is it clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Press
Okay.
it.
You can see the PPT also,
Press
right?
it, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Okay. So next one is electron beam melting. This is also coming under direct energy deposition. So in that net shaping, I told you that laser is using. Here actually we are using electron beam for melting the powder. Okay. So the powder hooper here at the left and right hand side of this electron beam. So this is actually somewhat similar to our cathode tube or maybe electron beam machining process in non-traditional machining process. That means this part. Okay, so in electron beam machining, in our non-traditional machining process, what you will do is instead of powder, there will be no powder supply will be there. You will use a hard material and you will cut the shape whatever you need. Okay, so it's not like that. Here you are supplying the powder and electron beam, you deposit that both on the table. So the powder will be in a molten state, so that will paste on the table and together, one layer over the air, it will stick together. Okay, so this is actually, so I am not means I am not going in detail about these technologies because you already heard about all these technologies. So I am just having a brief introduction about that. So to into my topic, okay, main topic. So this is actually molten wire and arc additive manufacturing process. This is whatever the welding process we are using. It is somewhat similar to that. So here the model material, or the material will be in the film form. So that will actually come to the torch. So some arc will be electric arc will be generated there. So that actually fuse, that means melt this filament, and then it will deposit on the table. So this is one of the newer technology, newer development in this by keeping, that means advantages of welding and additive manufacturing, both. Okay. So next one, it is hybrid. So nowadays some more development is coming in this hybrid additive manufacturing process. Means subtractive and additive process. We are gluing together into this technology, and that is both advantages can be exploited in this technology. So some of the things we will some process will start with milling process. Then, so what I given example here is actually milling process, hybrid additive manufacturing milling process. So first, for few you use this milling process, then you will switch over to additive process the same way. Okay. So this is actually a newer development in this additive and subtractive manufacturing. So next one, so what are powder size, filament diameter, and layer thickness, what we are using in this. So normally the powder, it will not be exact for because the powder size will be different technologies. So if you are using same powder size for laser engineering and shaping and EBM, it may not be work properly. Okay, so you have to, that means even though electron beam melting process, so different companies, if they are developing machines for this electron beam melting process, the powder size may be vary. So actually it is 20 micrometer to 150 micrometer. So that is the normal size of this powder we are using in this additive manufacturing process. Then filament diameter normally using in FDM is approximately from 1.78 mm to 3 mm. That is the filament diameter. So layer thickness is different. That is the thickness of the layer for what we are depositing in for one layer. That means that is the thickness of that means that is actually deciding factor for resolution. Okay, so how much resolution, that means how much accurately we can produce it, because in additive manufacturing one main problem is in curved surfaces there will be a lot of staircasing effect will be there. So it will smooth. So for that you have to keep the layer thickness as minimum as possible. But if you keep the thickness as minimum as possible, but there is another problem in that. So the time consumption will be more. Okay, so you have to select based on which machine you are using and which material you are using. Based on that, you have to select the optimum layer thickness. So different technologies have different layer thickness, like 0.05 to 0.33 mm we are using in different technologies. Stereolithography, it is 0.05 mm we are using, but for fused deposition modeling, it will be minimum 0.17. Maybe newer technology may be developing, and we can expect some more advances in this. Okay, so main industries, that means Wohlers, maybe you may be or may not be heard about that. So Wohlers Associates is one of the company where every year they will publish a report. So it will tell about what is the current status of additive manufacturing, and next 5 or 10 years what will be the development we can expect, and what are the main important machines it is supplying, that means, or producing and supplying in worldwide. Okay, so this report actually is a Britannica for additive manufacturing. So you can see that what are the main resources or main industries we are using additive manufacturing, that is consumer products. So normally for consumer products and motor vehicles we are using additive manufacturing large scale. So you can see that government, military agencies are using architectural for building development, building construction. We are using additive manufacturing for maybe prototyping, or somehow in Dubai and some of the countries already built fully functioning buildings using additive manufacturing. So next one, it is what are the main applications? That means where it is actually applied
in education research, and parts for producing jigs and fixtures, all those actually. And the countries we are using this additive manufacturing, it is US. US, it is using very large scale, but you can see that in India it is nowhere it is there, and that India will come under this other category, that is 13.9%. Other all countries are using 13.9%, but even you can just see that US it is 35.3%. They are exploiting this technology. Okay, some products we can expect from additive manufacturing. These two buildings are Dubai and China. It is developed using additive manufacturing. Granuloplasty is medical application. So that means if the skull is damaged due to some accident or something, you can scan that area and you can create a customized part from additive manufacturing, and you can fix it. These lower jaw applications, these are medical applications. This is also you can scan the lower jaw portions, and by MRI scan or CT scan, that scan data you can used in 3D modeling software and develop the 3D model, and that you can print using additive manufacturing, and you can fix it to the human who is affected. Then this is a for their rocket engine, aeroplane engine. And this is different areas we are exploiting capacity of this additive manufacturing. Okay, so this just show what the capacity is additive manufacturing. Okay, so the main research area, you can think about different types of areas. That is one, new material development. As you know, material available is very less in our additive manufacturing process. But you can think about new material development. There are difficulties. You have to make the wire. If you are developing a material for PDM, you have to develop a wire form of this material. So ductility should be there. Then characterization of new material development. Based on that, you can characterize the material properties. That means tensile properties, other mechanical strength, gear properties, all those things. Okay. Then you can process parameters. Process parameters will be different from one technology to the other. So if but one process parameter I can tell you that that is orientation of the product on the table. Okay. So that if the orientation is changing, you can identify that there will be support material will be maybe varying, the product will be varying. Another one is product development. You can use this technology for product development, including prototype development. Okay. Then another one is for maybe you may be heard about for manufacturing and retirement, all those things. Right? So this is actually designed for additive manufacturing. So additive manufacturing, there's a capacity that any complex shape you can make, but you can't think about the infinite quantity, but still you can think. You can reduce the meters based on your and new machine development. That also you can think, because I told you that wire and arc additive manufacturing process actually developed very recently. Okay, so that also you can think about. Hope you hear me, right? I am audible, right? So, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, sir. Please let me know. Then main advantages and disadvantages of AM are advantages are fast process. It is very fast because we need a tool or jig or fixture. Those things actually we can eliminate, and cost can be reduced using that type of capacities of additive manufacturing. That can fabricate in complex shape. So complex shape, there will be some limitation, but comparatively, comparing to conventional manufacturing process, the complexity in a high degree you can achieve. The customization, so individual customization and even though that means personalized products, those things actually you can achieve through this additive manufacturing. Then you can, that means in subtractive manufacturing, a lot of materials. So this is more. But here you are adding material, and then develop cost and time to main advantage. And laser system expensive. The is based on laser systems. Then, that's why that's then variety of material is limited. Material availability is very less. Then need almost every technology need post production steps. Maybe a final manufacturing process to finish the process. Sorry. Then build size, size of the product will be limited. Then health issues will be laminated. Then main using for functional prototypes for casting. Food countries are widely using nowadays additive manufacturing. So before going to my experiences in research, so you have to know about what is actually customization, because I am actually developed a customized, ergonomically designed laparoscopic surgical tool handle. It's a prototype, okay. So using this additive manufacturing and anthropometric data. Okay, so customization, it is the act of modifying something to a particular individual or task. So this is actually, you are designing a product or you are designing a process for a particular person or maybe a group of persons. Okay. So actually we started this industrialization actually is mass production. That means identical shape. Means between the first product and the second product. Maybe so actually called mass production. So maybe producing 1,000 or 2,000 pieces. But that is actually one size fits all. That means the whole product will be use or I have using the same maybe same all those. When this industry through this computer technology and other technology, so industries they think that is it will be best for one maybe one group of people. The personalization is similar to customization. Here we are customer more. Okay.
Sir, voice is breaking, sir. Voice
Okay,
cut
sir.
item.
Now,
Sir, your presentation position to be changed, sir. Your presentation position to be changed means if everything is clear due to the net problem.
how is it now?
Okay,
Hello,
sir.
sir.
Okay, sir.
One of because it is a big place. So this is the one position I can use the net correctly. Sorry for that. And hope
Hello, sir.
He is not in line, sir. Just to make a call to him.
Sir. I think that presentation doesn't cut.
Hello, sir.
Audible.
Yeah, okay. I think net is. Yeah, I am presenting it now.
Okay.
Yeah, can you see the PPT now?
No, sir.
It's not visible. Can you see the PPT now?
No, sir. There is no presentation, sir. There is no PPT.
Just a minute, sir. Is it, sir? No?
No, sir.
Now?
No, sir.
Sir, no.
No, sir.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, sir. Can you see now? PPT now?
No, sir. No PPT, sir. Sir,
No, PPT.
stop the program. 1 second, you are open it the PPT. After that, you are pay it.
Not visible.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Still not visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sir, is visible my screen? No?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm not visible, right? Hello?
Hello, sir. சொல்லுங்க.
Sir,
Sir.
it's visible now,
Okay,
right?
sir.
Hello,
Visible,
sir?
sir.
Yeah, it's visible, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Right?
Okay, sir.
Sorry for inconvenience. As you know, it's, net problems nowadays increasing because a lot of people are here nowadays. Sorry for that. Uh, so this is actually customization. There are four approaches, four phases of customization are adaptive, collaborative, and transparent. So adaptive customization is actually a representation. That means actually the other than the product. This is actually you go through. There are a lot of different types of approaches are there in customization. One is adaptive. One is this is one type of it is actually proposed by Pine. Adaptive, cosmetic, collaborative, transparent. In that, this representation actually means packaging or maybe color other than the product. Okay, for product appearance. Okay, adaptive normally you are not going for any change in the product or representation, but in cosmetic you will change the representation, but you will not change the design. Okay, in transparent you will not change the packaging or color or something, but you will they may not be knowing that whether customers may not be knowing that whether they actually got the customized product in that way. Okay, then collaborative customization you will go for entire change in the customization. Okay, so then this is another approach, that is modelization. You may be heard about that. This is actually the 6 types of modularization. There is component sampling, bus and sectional modularity. So here you are using some base product and you will change the components in that. So that is one way of getting the modularization. So here actually the customizable feature will be very less, and number of choices also will be very less. But if it is a personalized product, so example of one of the personalized product, maybe you can change the handle of a hand tool. That means the other parts. That means you just heard about. That means you just think about the hammer. Hammer, you can change that wooden part according to the one hand size, but you may not change that hammer. That means where actually this nail will be using the part, that part you will not change. So the number of choices is actually one. Okay, so but you can get infinite number of choices for this wooden part. So that is actually means the meaning of the personalized product. Okay, bespoke product. The classic example for bespoke product is your apparels. That means if you are tailoring, if you are going to a tailor shop and you make a shirt for you, so that is actually a bespoke product. That means everything will be designed for your body. Okay, so that is actually meaning of bespoke product. Okay, next one is so that means in customization actually you need a lot of customer inputs. That means because you are designing for customers, you are not designing a product and playing for it. You are actually designing by getting the idea from or maybe information from the customers. So you need a lot of customers for a customized product design. Okay. So what is functional requirements? So what actually the function of the product? Then how you can design this product environmental, because you know that recycling and all those concepts are nowadays increasing. Sustainable manufacturing. So how you can dispose it, how you can get rid of this waste, all things. So that all you have to you can directly, that means the customers or users may know that how they are experiencing to dispose the product. So you can get that from customer. Then ergonomic requirement means how the design will be, how it will, how it can reduce the discomfort. Then user fit, that is actually the customization. That means the dimension of the body. Okay, anthropometry. You can tell that anthropometry. I will come to that. Then aesthetic requirements, maybe and requirements. This is actually very difficult to define. Because aesthetic requirements, it may be a color. That means you may be liking one color and I may not like that particular color. So that's what all these people manufacturers are giving different colors for this car, right? So then the
Sir, audio breaking, sir. Breaking. Audio break.
I'm really sorry, sir. I don't know what is actually happening in
Yes,
this.
sir. Continue, sir. No problem.
Oh, sir. Yeah, okay. Now it's here, right? Now
Yes,
it's
sir.
clear,
Continue,
right?
continue, sir.
So when you are now when you are coming to ergonomic and anthropometry, how the work is interacting in the environment. So that is ergonomic. And anthropometry is sort of this ergonomic. You can get work. Okay. So, to human, so anthropos measure. Anthropos means human and of the human. But here you are collecting the anthropometric data for your product. See
Hello, sir. No audio, sir.
Hello?
Sir, ruler.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay,
Hello.
okay, sir.
Mani sir? Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Can see the presentation, right?
No, sir. Presentation.
Yeah, okay. Not came?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, it's coming, sir, I think. Yeah, now it's came, right? Yeah, okay. So you can see the presentation, right? So this is the way you can hello?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you can hear me, right? Okay, so this is another one. You can sit while seeing a computer, laptop, phone, or tablet. You sit it economically and do. But see that they redesigned according to the ergonomic factors. That means here actually the wrist is actually in a twisted position, but here the wrist is in neutral position or straight position. There you can actually reduce the risk of injury or maybe the risk of discomfort. Okay, so another one is so now I will come into the research or what my experience is for research. So actually discussed with my guide, we started with the hand size is actually different. Right? It is actually different. It is actually varying from individual. So based on that, why we can't design a hand tool design? That means handle used in surgery. Okay, actually the handle used by or hand tool used by the doctors, so that we can redesign. Okay, so based on that, I just went through this literature in healthcare sectors and all those things. So that means healthcare sector is actually giving the services in 5 ways, in 5 different systems: hospitals, pharmaceuticals, diagnostics, medical equipment supplies, medical insurance. Diagnostics normally laboratories. So okay, so but here the other 4, other than this from the ellipse, so those actually no need of an engineering aspects. Okay, so there's actually the doctors are doing, or pharmaceuticals are doing, the laboratory persons are doing, or maybe the insurance companies are doing. So there actually the engineering applications is very less. It's actually nil there. So one area we can concentrate for engineering applications, that is actually medical equipment and supplies. Okay, so this is actually the area we can concentrate. So this will come actually all the equipments, hand tools, surgical tools, etc., etc. Okay, so based on this, so we know that the main equipments we are using by main equipment, that means the important equipments are used by doctors. Okay, so doctors, there are 2 types of people are there in that: non-surgeons, that means just diagnosing, and maybe anesthesiast, all those people. So others are actually surgeons. Actually they are using the surgical tools, and they are maybe 10 hours or 12 hours they will continuously stand inside the operation theater, and they will do this procedure. So they are actually the mental strain, the physical strain is more for doctors. So that's what actually we concentrated our study into the surgeons. So this is actually the way we came into this surgeons. Okay, then there are different types of surgical procedures are there based on purpose, procedure, degree of invasiveness, all those things are there. But in that one particular area, degree of invasiveness, that is actually how much large hole you are creating on the body and you are doing the operation. One is open surgery, another one is laparoscopic surgery. Open surgery, so I will come to this. Open surgery, in open surgery you can see that you open the abdomen, or maybe where you are going to do the surgery, you will open that and you will directly touch the organ. But in laparoscopic surgery, it is not like that. You are making very small holes, and you are inserting 4 or 5 tools inside that. One camera will be there, one lighting equipment will be there, other tools will be there. So here there is no direct interaction with the organs by the doctor, by the surgeon. So here actually the pain and the risk is more, because you inserting a camera and you are viewing that the operation area in a computer that is situated somewhere inside the operation theater. So here the advantage of this laparoscopic surgery or minimally invasive surgery, the advantage is that it is the hospital stay, because the incisions are very small, so it will be cured easily. So hospital stay is very less, but the risk is more in this comparative to open surgery. So based on that, in India, around 5.3 million surgical errors are happening because of maybe the physical and mental strain of doctors, or maybe some other factors. Okay, so the factors are communication errors, lack of technical competence, physical and mental strain, and improper design and size of the instruments. These are the main reasons these surgical errors are happening. So if the surgical errors are happening, you have to go for further surgeries, or maybe the hospital stay will be more. So actually you are going for minimally invasive surgery for reducing the hospital stay. But it's so again this hospital stay will be down. Okay, so because of that, you have to one way is you can reduce the physical and mental strain of these doctors, and you can post the experienced surgeons for that particular operation, and the communication between surgeons and the communication between the tool, the equipments they are using, and the surgeons. And another one is improper design and size of the instruments. That is another reason for surgical errors. So this actually the doctors themselves can actually reduce it by getting more and more experience. But improper design, this is the one thing we can, that means an engineer can address. So this in two way we can reduce this. That means incorporating ergonomic factors and incorporating customized design. That means based on the tool will be designed based on the size of the hand tools, mainly hand tools. So you can design, customize it based on the hand size of the surgeons. Then the additive manufacturing, one of the main advantages, that is customized design is very easily you can achieve, right? So by incorporating these three areas, ergonomics, customization, and additive manufacturing, and anthropometry is actually part of ergonomics, and that can be used for customized design. Okay, so by combining these three areas, you can actually, this is actually a that means a hypothesis. We can normally reduce the comfort, increase the comfort and reduce the surgical errors. Okay, so this I already told you. And the main problem of this laparoscopy surgery is hand-eye coordination between this tool and the monitor, and there will be in a very awkward positions. Okay, so that's why we concentrate the prototype design will be for laparoscopic surgery. So based on that, I just and I connected some means where more pain, and by using laparoscopic surgery, which body part they are getting more pain, and what instrument, which type of instrument they are actually getting the pain. Okay, based on the survey, we identify that main area is hand and neck. These two areas actually having more pain. So one is hand. Okay, another one is I identify that it is forceps. That is one tool they are using for laparoscopy surgery, that is actually getting more discomfort while using it. So other needle halters, scalpels, stapler, all those things are there, but more pain on this. So I concentrated redesigning a forceps. Okay, and one more thing, based on this survey, I don't know whether it is, maybe it is around 120, around that much people I actually contacted. So the data may not be perfect, but for continuing my research, this data was useful. Okay. Then next one is, so these are the hand data, hand anthropometric data I will to collect. And use a tracer method. That means I will trace the hand profile of a subject, and I will take the dimensions of this circumference, length of fingers from that. This is actually for reducing the time spent by the subject, by the participant. Okay, so that means I have to reduce the time they are spending for my data collection process. So I have to leave them as easily as possible. So if I am collecting the dimensions directly, all these 18 dimensions will take a long time, maybe more than half an hour to collect from one subject. So that will actually increase my time and the participants' time. So that I have to reduce it. So for that, I take the profile of the hand, and after that maybe I will collect the profile within a span of 5 minutes. Then I will go. That means I will measure these dimensions based on this equation and all those things in a my convenient time. So I can collect within 1 hour. I can collect 10 or 12 hand profiles. Then in a later time, I can measure these dimensions and I can note it down. So any problem? Can you hear me now? Okay. So
Sir, okay, sir.
this okay. So the description of this data, that the 18 hand anthropometric data I collected, actually given in this. Okay. So what is circumference, and this calls intermediate phalanx, distal phalanx, and proximal phalanx. And for thumb there will not be any intermediate phalanx. So that is a basic structure or anatomy of the hand. Okay. So based on this, actually I collected all these data. So these are the details of those data. Then I done a pilot study, because I am using a tracer method. That means I am collecting a profile and I am getting that. I am not trying to get the direct measurement. So direct measurement will be always the exact ones. But tracer method, it is an approximation method. So I am actually doing for the time spent for this process to reduce that. Okay, reduce the time spent for this process. So I collected 5 people's hand data through direct measurement and the pilot, means the tracer method, both these methods, and compare all these 18 dimensions with this. Okay, I compared. So I collected a percent error based on this. So some researchers saying that if it is 10%, below 10%, the data can be accepted. Okay, so based on that, I found that it is around 6 to 7%. It is the highest error it is coming in this method, tracer method, comparative to the direct measurement method. So normally in direct measurement method, we can use a scale or tape or something like that. But here there is no need. That means you can get the profile, and based on that you can measure using a scale or something. Okay, so based on that, based on this pilot study, I concluded that okay, I can go with this tracer method for further study. Okay, so I collected around 282 male subjects data, hand data, and I noted down. And apart from this 18 data, I collected this age, height, weight, and BMI. Age will be normally I will fix on 18 years and above. That means 18 years normally we will consider it as that is the grown-up stage. Okay, so it may not be perfect, so some variation may be there, but we have to fix one data. Okay, so 18 years and above. Okay, so based on that, this is the descriptive data. That means what is the size we got. All these dimensions are I just put it in a graph. Okay, so this is the study for normalization. This is called as eyeball test. So approximately almost every data is almost following the normal distribution. So normally if you are collecting this type of qualitative and quantitative data collection, you have to fix it on, that means the data should be following a normal distribution. So that is the idea behind this. So you have to test it in a lot of methods, other Kutois, skewness, then this eyeball test, all those things are there. So here I found this in the it is that not will not follow that. So if I put a the you see that. So this is actually that for printing process and manufacturing process need to analyze that which orientation actually giving the minimum support material, minimum time. If this time is less, you can tell that energy consumption is also less. Okay, then the strength. So based on that, F0, 0 and 0. These two orientations are actually these two orientations are actually giving a better result. That means a better minimum time, minimum model consumption, minimum uh, sound consumption, and approximately a that means an affordable strength. Okay, so this is the existing design. The concepts are selected. This is the existing design, and this is actually given by Hoskins. One in Coimbatore. That managing director actually gave me this one piece. So I how it works. Uh, I typing final design. So two machines this is FT and this is the blackboard. So that is the technology. So the two technology actually work.
So, sir, voice is full break.
I have no experience. Okay, sir. So what about now, sir?
Sir, voice break.
Hello, sir.
Voice is not audible.
Okay. Just a minute. Hello, sir. What about now?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, so this is the two machines I use for my prototype development. So based on this existing design, I actually came to first. I mean, three stages of design I done for identifying what are the problems and what are the, and finally I went to the customized one. Here you can see. This is the preliminary design and the problems I
Sir,
found that
PPT,
actually it
PPT
is
is
a
closed.
trial.
PPT is closed, sir.
PPT is not. Just a minute, sir. So now what about now?
No, sir. There is no place, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello? Hello, sir?
Sir, okay, sir.
Yeah, okay. Sir,
Yes.
is it visible? My PPT?
Yes, sir. Audio visible, but PPT is audio okay, sir.
PPT is not visible.
PPT not
PPT is
open.
not visible, sir.
PPT not open, sir.
I am actually presenting. Sir, is it visible now? PPT? Hello, sir?
Sir,
Sir, is
PPT
it
not
visible?
visible.
My PPT now?
PPT not visible, sir. Sir, PPT not visible, sir.
Sir, just a minute, sir.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible.
Okay, sir. Is it visible? Okay. Oh, sorry. Is it visible, sir? Now?
Not visible, sir. Only your image is showing.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
You get it. PPT visible, sir.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Sir, hope is visible, right? Right, sir? Sir,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
yeah.
Proceed.
Okay, okay, sir. Thanks, thanks, sir. Sorry. So this is the preliminary prototype I developed, and problem I found is this height that this height is prototype. So we reduce the infill density. So that is actually reducing the strength. Then this problem. This is actually this part actually piercing in the palm. So because of drawbacks, we just went to the next stage, secondary prototype. But here we eliminated the drawbacks from the preliminary design. But the problem is we are still individually custom. So to recommend individual customization strategy. For that, we went to the final stage. So final stage, I will explain about this. So final stage, there is actually that scissor type existing design. We changed to a pistol type grip. So this is actually a pistol type grip. You can I will show you the image which holding in a hand. So this actually this blue and this type of pink, orange type, green. These are actually the part inside. This is actually rubber type material. So rubber type material, it is not possible in FDM technology. That's what this type of parts actually we are printed in additive. So this is actually, that means if we have a base model and we can insert this rubber inserts in any design, okay, any type. So that means you can redesign these rubber strips according to one individual hand size. Okay, so that means we already have this CAD model. So alteration in CAD model, it is very difficult, very easy, right? We can easily change the dimension and we can get the new dimension or new product. Okay, so the base model is there in CAD, and so if one individual, one surgeon is approaching me and he need a individually customized model for him. So what I will do is I will get the hand data of that particular person, and then we will go to we will go to hello, can you hear me now? Hello? PPT is not visible.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, okay. So based on this, what I will do is the hand data. Then according to the dimension, I will redesign it. Some cases we just need to redesign the rubber inserts. So injection molding process, what will happen is if you are changing a single dimension in that, you have to redesign the whole mold separately, correct? So individual customization is not actually recommended to injection molding process, any other process. So there you have to go through the all these process separately for each and every person. So but here you can just alter the dimension in the CAD environment, then directly you can take that dimension changed product to the 3D printing machine and you can print it easily. So that so on this additive manufacturing process only, I can recommend that this individual customization strategy will be worked. So other technologies or other manufacturing process not be for development. So you can see that this is the existing design finger positions, and I changed slightly to incorporate this pistol type grip or power grip. Then the another one is hello. Okay. So
Sir, visible. Sir, next
ex-
section start
sir,
at
this
2
is-
o'clock, sir. Next section to start
yeah,
2
okay.
o'clock,
So
sir.
I will finish it within another 5-10 minutes.
Feedback.
Finish it.
Feedback.
So, this is the thing design contact area, and we are actually increase the contact area. So it will take the, that means weightlifting capacity will be increased. Then this piercing of this palm, that this part into the palm and actually be eliminated. Then the wrist posture. This is in a twisted position, that is actually be eliminated. Okay. So this is some of the stress analysis I did. So it is almost safe based on this other one minus stress criteria. It is found that it is safe now, and the validation actually I did done using the subjective is actually meeting these surgeons. Around 80 surgeons I met personally and collected. That means I given this existing design and the prototype design, the improved design, and I asked them which one they're. That means I can't go for this testing because the surgery may not be done by this particular product. Why? Because I need a lot of. That means if you are developing such surgical instruments, those actually you need a lot of permissions and other things, because life is that is at one end of this tool actually a human is lying there. So life is actually matter in that. So I can't, without any permission I can go for that. So I am actually recommending an individual customization strategy using a laparoscopic surgical tool handle prototype. Based on that actually is research. That means it is actually not fully completed at this stage. I have to tell, I can tell that if we can manufacture such a product using additive manufacturing, so it will be a individually customized design, and that will be more comfortable for that particular person or particular surgeon. So my conclusion about this up to this actually, so by using customization, ergonomics and anthropometry together and incorporating the or exploiting the capacity of manufacturing, we can develop a healthcare product or maybe any other hand tool, and we can increase the comfort of surgeons. That is actually my research. And some tools I will show that already some of the researchers already did. So that is actually, this is one laparoscopic forceps handle, pivot forceps. So it is actually designed for a single clinician. Then this is another one, another scissor type forceps handle that is actually redesigned using in a separate manner and slightly different from my concept. And another one is this is actually a handle for a wheelchair. So that particular that means that particular patient have to use that handle and he has to ride himself the wheelchair. So for that they take the impression of the hand of that person using CAD and other things, and they transfer to additive manufacturing machine and they printed using that. So it is actually total process took actually 15 hours. That means less than 1 day to complete this whole process. So the short span of time you can develop a product by exploiting the capacity of additive manufacturing. That's the advantage. So another one is this somewhat similar to that. This is actually a handle clamping hand tool. So you have to fix the work on this clamp, and you have to take up in the hand itself. So it will be difficult handle. So they have to redesign it. They redesign using CAD and additive manufacturing. So this is actually redesigned for taking up the weight more comfortably. Then another one is there's chisel. They also use a clay model for.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, please change further slides.
Yeah. Further, please.
Yeah, further slides. Please present further slides.
Yeah, I am presenting it. It's almost 2 minutes. I will complete it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what actually that means. If you are my using the additive manufacturing and customization along with this anthropometric and ergonomics data, you can actually redesign in a better way the whole design. Okay, so that means this is this approach you can change accordingly based on your research, but based on this research, you can means by going through this research, you can develop your own way. Okay, because engineering normally your pragmatic approach will be useful. Okay, so that's all from my side. So thank you for the patience, and I'm extremely sorry for the inconvenience caused from my part, because it's all happened in this remote presentation, right? So sorry for that. And Mani sir,
Yes, sir.
hello.
Now it's go for bit.
Yeah, yes sir. It's sir. Really sorry, sir. Really sorry. And thank you, participants. Thank you once again. Yeah. Okay.
Dear
Sir,
participant, if you have
can I
any
stop, sir? Can I leave?
queries, any questions?
Yeah, I will be delighted to.
Hello.
Clarify your doubts.
Hello.
Yeah, please, sir. Please.
Sir, my name is
Yeah, please.
my name is Vinay Singh Marwal. I am from Jaipur. I want to know whatever
Okay, sir.
demographic data you have collected for different doctors
Yes.
for the team were
Yes.
representative
Yes, sir.
of whole India, or they were the representative of a certain region of India?
No. Actually, I collected mainly from Coimbatore region. The data from main region, around 60% at the first phase of this research. Then around 50 members from the whole India. That means 52 members. Surgeons, they replied for my mail. So they fill up this the form what I sent to them, the survey questionnaire. So they return back through mail. Okay, so I collectively I actually around the 110 to 116 data. From there, actually I concluded that. So that hand anthropometric data I actually collect from in and around this Coimbatore region. That means it is south. It is actually addressing the South Indian male population. Is it clear, sir?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure, thank you. Any more?
Any other question? Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Thank
sir,
you for your valuable session.
Sir, please, I'm sorry, sir, because it usually happens, right?
Due
In
to,
that
no
internet
problem, sir.
facility.
Due to customized design
Yeah,
and the
okay.
development of hand tool using anthropometric data and additive manufacturing, we are presented today in this session. Okay, sir. Everything very valuable one. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank
And
you.
now we go
Thank
to
you. Thank you.
photo session. So all the participants to unmute your video. Sir, the feedback from and submit it. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.